Hey, back with another episode. Are you ready? Alrighty, SY Sports back with another video. Today I got my ACC Schedule Rankings or Ratings. I just kind of put some numbers in between like talent ratings and home and away games and all sorts. There's all sorts of little stuff that I put together to come up with this rating system that I crunch into numbers. We're gonna start from the top and work our way down. Now I'm not gonna list everybody's opponent or for every week. That's going to be when I do the prediction videos. So yeah, we're going to start it off from the top, from the hardest, and we're going to go all the way to the softest schedule. Number one, I have Georgia Tech at a solid 29.68. Now, I said I'm not going to go through everybody's schedule. I'm just going to kind of briefly go over them. This might be the toughest schedule in all of college football. So they have Clemson at home. They got West Carolina. Luckily, they have them at home early because that might be their only win of this season. Because even if if Western Carolina was later in the season, they might end up losing that because they go through just this gauntlet and they're going to be dead by the end of the season. Anyway, so Clemson, West Carolina. You got Ole Miss at home. You go to UCF, who's one of the better group of fives, who's coming into the Power Five. You go to Pitt, you're defending champs. Yes, they lose Kenny Pickett. Yes, they lose Jordan Addison. But it's still at Pitt with a great defense. You get Duke at home, potential win. You get Virginia at home, depending on how Elliott works and if he can get that quarterback and that offense going. That could be a win, but I feel like by the time this game kind of rolls around, they might just have no effort in them. You go to Florida State, to Virginia Tech, back-to-back. Those are tough environments to play at. You have Miami at home, who I have as the most talented team outside of Notre Dame in the ACC. You go, and then you finish the season at North Carolina, at Georgia. Like, dear Lord. This schedule rating came out way higher than the number 2 spot. This gap is, if I remember right, this might be the biggest gap between two schools. All right, anyways, we're going to go down to number 2. Good luck, Georgia Tech. That's what I'm going to say. Good luck, Georgia Tech. Now, number 2, we go to Syracuse at a whopping 27.10. Now, 2 points, yes, doesn't seem like a lot, but it really is a lot. That's a matter of, like, Power 5 and Group of 5 opponents and what Power 5 opponents you are playing. When I look at Syracuse's schedule, they go to UConn, but UConn's a joke. But another thing I noticed about the ACC is that they have a lot of road games at Group of 5 schools. I've never seen that before. It's very intriguing to me because I believe with all these teams going on the road to Group of 5 schools, someone's going to trip up, right? If not 2 or 3, you would think. Anyways, so they go to UConn. They have Purdue coming to their the Dome, Carrier Dome. They go to Clemson. They get Notre Dame, to Pitt, to Wake Forest, and they end the season at Boston College. Syracuse 27.10. Next is Boston College at 27.04. See, now there's not a huge gap. Similar opponents on their schedule. They host Rutgers. They go to Virginia Tech, to Florida State. They host Clemson. They go to UConn again, so there's the similarities. They go to NC State and to Notre Dame. And then they obviously host Syracuse and Duke. See, now I'm catching myself going over these schedules, and I'm trying to tell myself I don't need to do that. I'm trying to briefly go over it, and I'm struggling. All right, number 4 is North Carolina at a whopping 26.88. So there's another drop-off. Schedules just between 1 and 4. Look, that's 3 points. You know, that's a huge gap for these ratings. Huge gap. They go. Oh, this is weird. First 3 weeks, week 2 and week 3, they go to App State and then to Georgia State. Back-to-back Group of 5 games on the road. What are the odds that they lose both of those? You would think they would win, clearly, but they're on the road. Like, that's insane. All right, North Carolina, at App State, at Georgia State. They host Notre Dame. They go to Miami. They go to Duke. I know it's Duke, but it's on the road. They go to Virginia, to Wake Forest. I mean, that's just crazy, the amount of road games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 home games? They get 6 home games. Power 5 school getting 6 home games. Alrighty. No wonder why the ACC is dropping. Number 5, I have the defending champs, Pitt. So after looking at these ratings, it's another reason why I chose Pitt to not be as good this year. 26.75, so similar to North Carolina. If I'm looking right, they got West Virginia, Tennessee, then they go to Western, who they lost to at home last year. To Louisville, to North Carolina, to Virginia, and to Miami. Nothing really appealing other than the first 2 weeks. First 3 weeks could decide who they are. I know Western Michigan isn't going to be as good because they lose their star quarterback. But it's still on the road in Kalamazoo, so you never know. All right, number 6, Florida State, 26.16. Now, I'm just going to mention this team because Florida State has struggled against FCS, but Duquesne at home, I'm saying look out. Because if Florida State, let's just say Florida State has struggled against FCS schools a lot lately. Now, the next game is a neutral, quote-unquote neutral site against LSU, but it's in Louisiana, so I put that as a road game, so I made that a little tougher in their schedule ratings. Then they go to Louisville after that. You know, you get Boston College, Wake Forest. You go to NC State. You get Clemson. Go to Miami. Now they get Louisiana Lafayette at the end of the season. Now I know Louisiana Lafayette lost a lot, but I still feel like that would be a tougher game because I feel like Florida State might be depleted. I mean, they back-to-back at Miami, at Syracuse, and then obviously Louisiana, and then Florida at the end. These schedules seem very odd this year for the ACC. Very odd. Anyways, Clemson at number 7, 26.01. They start at Georgia Tech, whatever. I'm seeing at Wake Forest maybe. They host NC State. They go to Florida State. They go to Notre Dame. They get Miami at home, and then they get South Carolina at home. Nothing. I can see why these are starting to get easier and easier. I mean, they could slip up at Wake Forest. You know, they go back-to-back Boston College, Florida State. They go to Notre Dame. And then if Miami is what Miami is, then maybe. All right, number 8. Virginia Tech, 25.54. Another one, at Old Dominion. Like, what the hell? Didn't they just lose to them a few years ago? And now they have to go back there? Or did Old Dominion win at Virginia Tech? Anyways, they go at Old Dominion. You get They get West Virginia at home. They go to UNC. They go to Pitt. They go to NC State. They go to Duke. And then at the end of the season, just right before their rivalry game against Virginia, they go to Liberty. Now, Liberty is going to take a step back this year because the loss of Malik Willis is going to hurt. But it's a road game in that middle of November against a group of 5. And Hugh Freeze, yes, he's a scumbag, but he still is a good coach. So, yeah. Just weird scheduling from the ACC as I keep going down the list and reminding myself of what their schedules actually are. All right, number 9, Louisville. 25.24. Start off at Syracuse. They go to UCF. So UCF seems to be hosting the ACC. You might as well put them in the ACC, even though they're joining the Big 12. Oh, yeah, so Louisville's got the tour of Florida. They go to UCF, they host Florida State, and then they host South Florida. 3 games in a row. It's so weird. They get James Madison. Now, I didn't really put that into effect, but James Madison is not someone to mess around with because they did dominate the FCS for a while, so don't take them too lightly. Then they go to Clemson, and then they finish off at Kentucky. All right, number 10 would be NC State. Everybody's high on them. I wasn't as high on them, but as I'm starting to see their talent ratings compared to the ACC and now their schedule ratings, I'm starting to get a little more on that bus. Rating of 25.18. Now they do go to East Carolina, another group of 5 road game to start the season. They get Texas Tech. That's an odd scheduled game. They go to Clemson, to Syracuse, to Louisville, to North Carolina. I mean, I could list off everybody's opponents, but I'm trying not to. So, and number 11 is the Dukies at a 25.02. They have the tour this year of competing to be the best, the worst in the Power 5. They go to Northwestern and to Kansas this year. So even though they're playing the worser teams like themselves, they have to play them all on the road. They go to Georgia Tech, but by then I think Georgia Tech will be depleted. You get North Carolina at Miami. They go to Boston College, to Pitt. A lot of road games for the ACC this year, it feels like. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's another 6 and 6. Crazy. All right, number 12. I threw them in here. Notre Dame. Sorry. Shockingly, only at a 24.08 because I know they are still quote unquote independent, but they have a tougher schedule when I just look at the schedule. But when I put the numbers together, it's really not because their schedule is basically off potential. I'll show you why. Now, at Ohio State, clearly it's Ohio State. Don't really need to explain that, And then it kind of drops off. They get Marshall. They get Cal at home. Now, Cal's bowl probably close to 6 and 6, 7 and 5 team. They go to North Carolina, potential team. They get BYU at home. Now, you could say it's an automatic win, but I'm very high on BYU. Very high on BYU. In fact, as of right now, they are my favorite group of 5 team coming into the season. Now, they host Stanford after that. Now, you could say Stanford's bringing all these guys back, but they were god-awful last year. But I do have them very high in my talent ratings because of how much they have coming back. Then they get UNLV. It's a win. They go to Syracuse. I mean, it's a road game, but it's Syracuse. You get Clemson, but it's at home. You get Navy. I mean, you could say triple option or whatever, but they still blow them out every year. You get Boston College, who everyone's high on, but that's at home. And then they go to USC, and who knows what USC is going to be. That's an all-potential team, too. So if you really look deep into it, it makes sense of where they're ranked at. But if you just straight up look at it and think of like branding, you would think this is the toughest schedule. Or not top 3 after. Since I keep listing off every opponent, you would think this is probably top 3. Yeah, really, they would only have to look at Ohio State, at North Carolina, at USC. Yes, those are all road games. Ohio State's probably your only guarantee. UNC, who knows what they'll be without Sam Howell. And USC, who knows what the hell Lincoln Riley's going to do. And Caleb Williams and all those studs. Who knows? Number 13, Miami. 23.79, another drop off. This is kind of convincing me to hop on the Miami train. Now I have them listed as the number one ACC talent, or most talented team in the ACC, and now I have them as the third easiest schedule in the entire conference. Starting to get close to hopping onto the train. I mean, Bethune-Cookman, Southern Miss wins. They go to Texas A&M. Who knows? They get Middle Tennessee State at home. That's probably an easy win. Get North Carolina, but it's at home. You go to Virginia Tech. Tough environment, but you should be able to pull that off. You get Duke, but it's at home. You go to Virginia, maybe. You get Florida State, but it's at home. Now, historically, that game has been road wins, but it's kind of flip-flop since. And really, I feel like, hasn't Miami dominated lately? Anyways. You get Georgia Tech on the road. Now, I would think, oh yeah, right before they go on the road at Clemson, this could be a loss. But Georgia Tech may be dead and may not have a football program by then. And then next at Clemson, and then they get Pitt at home. So I could see why people want them to go to the Coastal Championship and lose to Clemson. I could see it. Number 14, Wake Forest. With everything coming back, or with their quarterback coming back, and a 22.99 rating, another drop off, I'm kind of starting to feel Wake Forest vibes again. I mean, the schedule is very easy. They do go on the road to Vandy, but it's Vandy. You know, Vandy is more talented, but it's Vandy. You get Clemson, but it's at home. You go to Florida State. Now, they do get Army, but it's at home, and I feel like Wake Forest's offense will be able to put up enough points to where Army will, since Army trains the clock, they won't have enough time to keep up. They just run slow. I just think Wake Forest is going to be able to blitz them. Anyways, you get Boston College is at home. Then you go back-to-back at Louisville, at NC State. You get North Carolina, Syracuse home, and then you go to Duke. So what's the fear factor? Just looking at it, at Florida State, at Vandy. The Clemson game doesn't scare me because you get them at home. And that's a game that Clemson usually loses. Anyways, as I keep going, predicting what's going to happen, I just need to tell you the freaking ratings. All right, Wake Forest, 22.99. Now, the last, clearly, is Virginia, and they have a 22.44. Now, look at the gap in the schedule ratings. Yes, it says 7.24 points. As I slowly do math in my head. But that is a huge gap. Huge gap. I mean, you got Georgia Tech basically playing Murder's Row. And then you got Virginia over here. They get Richmond. They go to Illinois. Now, Illinois is on the rise, but it's still Illinois. You get Old Dominion at home. You go on the road, but it's Syracuse. Listen to this. Back-to-back road games of Syracuse and Duke. What I had is like two of the worst teams, and hold on. let me start that over. The 3-game stretch at Syracuse, at Duke, home against Louisville, the 3 worst teams, talent rated teams that I have. And you go on the road at Georgia Tech. Now they could slip up there, but Georgia Tech, like I said, might be dead by then. You get Miami at home. You get UNC, Pitt at home, and then you get Coastal Carolina. Now that's a tougher group of 5 teams, sure. And then you end at Virginia Tech. So I mean, the first half of the schedule is a joke. The second half of the schedule is actually, it's good, but most of them are at home. So yeah, that is the ratings for the ACC. Tomorrow will be Big 12, and then Wednesday Big 10, Thursday Pac-12, Friday SEC. And then Saturday, I'm trying to not do videos on the weekends, but Saturday may throw out one prediction video if I have time to figure it all out. All right, without further ado, please comment down below, share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.